Welcome to McKinley Connects, real people, real stories. Today, I'm so excited to have Monique Gutierrez with me today. She is a recent awardee who won an award for our HCI grant. So, welcome, Monique. Thank you so much for carving time with us today. How are you?
Thank you for having me. I'm doing great. How about yourself?
I'm well, I'm well. Well, let's jump in. I would like to ask if you would be willing to tell our audience a little bit about your role at McKinley and how long you've been in this field.
Sure. So I started with McKinley back in 2020. I also have been in this particular field for quite some time. I would say about 5 years. But my current role here at McKinley is I'm the birth to five clinician. So I solely work with children that are ages 0 to 5 years old.
Wow. Share a little bit more about that with us. Are you willing to share an experience that you might have had that really sparked your interest to want to work with that demographic?
To be quite honest, I have been working with the 0 to 5 population since I was in high school. So this has been about like 14 years. I actually started volunteering with programs such as Head Start, First Five California, and different programs just working with children of that age group. So when I did go to school to become an MFT, to be honest, I didn't want to work with 0 to 5 population. However, I was tired of it, like I was like, let
Sure.
me do something else. As soon as I started my practicum, they told me like, hey, you know what? Just you're really good with 0 to 5. We're gonna assign you to that population, and I stuck with it. And
Wow.
presently, I can't see myself working with another population. So I love it. That's how I started, and that's how I got here.
Incredible. That was your calling and you responded. Tell us a little bit. I know that sometimes there are some misconceptions about just the work that you do. And if there was a way that you can share and kind of clarify some of those misconceptions, what would you say?
So when I think about mental health, and the misconceptions that there are, I know that a lot of people feel that mental health may not be real, so to say, or that it could just be a phase that people might be going through. So those are some of the misconceptions that I've experienced, especially in my with my culture. I am Mexican, Hispanic.
Mhm.
I have experienced that a lot of people from my culture, my demographic, do not really believe in mental health or do not even want to, even if they are having a problem, they're less likely to reach out to professionals to seek support. So those are some of the misconceptions that I've come across. And I've tried, well, I mean, being Hispanic, being Mexican, and choosing to work in this field, I feel like I am becoming like a voice for my culture, for my background, and encouraging people to seek help, and letting them know that it's okay to ask for help. So.
I love that. And that's so true. I also am of Hispanic background and I don't know why. It seems like, that has been something that we've had to overcome.
Yeah,
And I thank you for doing that. And a lot of it is educating.
right.
People don't realize that if you're sick, you go see a doctor. But if you're emotionally not well, seeing a therapist or, a psychologist isn't a bad thing. It's wisdom.
Right.
Um, Thank you. I do want to ask you, do you have like a memorable story or a moment where you would like to share with us? I think that, your population, the 0 to 5, there's got to be some beautiful stories that you see the impact of the work that you're doing.
Definitely. So I have a couple experiences coming to mind, but I want to keep it on a lighter note. Um, so back when I started with McKinley in 2020, I was given this foster child. I was assigned to a foster child who was 3 years old. So when you think of a 3 year old in foster child in foster care,
Mhm.
back then I didn't know what to expect. Now with my experience, I know like okay, I know exactly what to expect, how to kind of direct the family, how to help them. So taking it back to 2020 when I was first given this foster child, it seemed like the end of the world for me because I did not know like how to help this family. So I expressed that to the family. I'm like, look, we're gonna be on this journey together, and hopefully we have a happy ending.
Yes.
So this child was, she was a challenge for me. She had a lot of behavior problems. There was a lot of, she lacked a lot of love. Just the nature of being a foster child. It comes with a lot of dilemmas, a lot of work that needs to be done. So, working with this family, educating them, helping this child find her voice, helping the family kind of come together and understand that this is going to become her forever home. In that process of us providing therapy to this family and provided services, they did get to adopt this child.
Oh,
And we
wow.
were able to see just so much magic happen in that relationship with the foster child and now the adoptive mom, where at the beginning they weren't able to connect, they weren't able to communicate or understand each other. To the finale, right before we terminated, they became best friends.
Wow.
And for me, it was and it always will be a memorable experience, just because you know you get to see, at the beginning you're afraid, you're nervous, but then once you reach the ending, you look back and like, oh, I did something right here.
That's so heartwarming. Thank you so much, Monique, for sharing that. I'm going to throw you a little curveball. You recently were awarded the HCI grant for your student debt. What would you say to our donors, to somebody who's watching? Uh, what has that meant to you in your life, and how is that going to impact you as you pay back your student debt with this kind of windfall? It wasn't something that you were expecting. You applied, you went through the process, but being a winner, walk us through that journey.
Well, I'm not gonna lie to you, I'm still like in shock of having won. um it just I can't even begin to explain. So when it was first presented to us, I remember being on my laptop, the presentation wasn't even over yet and I had already applied.
Mm.
I was excited. I was hoping that I would win, but I knew the amount of people that were applying. So my hopes weren't too high, but I did everything I was expected to. I attended all the webinars. I made sure my application was in, all to find out at the last day of the last interview that my application was actually lost.
Oh,
Um, so I remember I spoke with Will, and he mentioned to me, he's like, hey, we didn't find your application. If all fails, like, there's always next year. And I was pretty bummed out, but he was able to connect with HCI, and they actually found my application. I get a call from Will like an hour, 2 hours before the final interview, and he's like, get ready, it's your turn to interview. And yeah, I interviewed and I didn't feel like ready or anything, but here I am, I was able to win. So it was a shocker to me. Very, very happy. Um, I'm sorry, I kind of like derailed from your question.
no, this was even more. This was better than my question. It sounds like, if I may just add that, one, even just the journey of you getting the application process, but then being awarded. And for our audience who are watching us today, through HCI, this is a $25,000 uh, stipend, an award, a grant that was given to, on this round, we had I believe, 10 employees who won this. And we're going to have 2 more years of this to be able to offer our employees who are in behavioral health and a way to chip away at their student debt. So it's encouraging to me and my department and my team and my staff who worked very hard on this grant. And we were able to be at that award luncheon, and truly, it was like so inspiring and motivating, for us to continue to do what we're doing. So thank you for being such an outstanding team member and for all that you do for McKinley.
Thank you.
Have a great afternoon, and thank you again for joining us today.